Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada.
I'm actually around. So Mel and I are launching next week. It's pretty much done now. We're just fine tuning it. We documented our entire transition from brick and mortar to online. So what we're doing is we're launching a 20-hour course, like an actual curriculum.
Wow.
And it's going to have all worksheets, all actionable items. And it's fantastic. It shows you how to basically, for any coach, any nutritionist, doesn't even doctor, if you want to take your business online, we show you how to do it. But like all actionable stuff. It's not like, oh, this is like, oh, I own the gym and that's why I see like everyone's always like talking theory. No one wants to give actionable stuff. We actually documented it, how he took it to a 7-figure profitable business in 6 months.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good because that's what people need.
But what I'm going to be doing is I'm doing affiliates. So I'm doing like an affiliate program with like Perform Better is going to basically put it on their main page. It's one of their main pieces of curriculum, which is great. Everything down to like brand deals, how to organize them, how to structure them.
What is your price point on that? Because
I think it's gonna be about $5.99.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I think it's $5.99, but 20 hours. You have like, I can't even tell you how many videos, worksheets. It's fantastic.
Yeah. No, that would be very very interesting, I think, for people to see that, because like you said, there's no nuts and bolts, right? It's all like, hey, I started my business online, you can too. And it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, and it's bullshit. Like I can't tell you how many books we read and how many webinars we've taken, and it's like it's all like yap. Like Mel and I, how we got aggressive is we're like, this is how we did it. And if you can do us and you can outwork us and do what we did, then great. But we're giving you all the secrets and all the tools.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm actually really excited about. And I think that's gonna be a big thing for us this fall. Otherwise, the challenges, some of the brand stuff, I'm really trying to think about this fall as a time for me to be around and not, and just kind of playing catch up. But this last week Mel's been working so much on this curriculum that, I just got back from travel. So it's enabling me to clear my desk a little bit and get on the course a little bit and take a deep breath. I really haven't had any time off. Even DonCon, it's like you're there and you're on,
I wanted to do a recap on what you did this summer, like even the DonCon thing. I thought that was interesting to.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think a lot of people see it, but they don't know what it's about.
It was wild. Yeah, it's wild because it wasn't, when we wanted to host a retreat, it didn't come down to like us saying, oh, we wanted to host a retreat. Like we basically started this community. And then from starting the community, we really transitioned into saying, what offerings can we, give to our community, right? And I think John, if he's getting in your way.
No, I just don't want to step on him.
No. I'm getting him. Come here. Enough. Good. I'm gonna hold them on my lap so they have no personal space. So basically, we started with, this whole community, which I think by April, we should have about 9,000 challengers. And they're not all at once, right? They circulate in and out of the challenge community. So we developed this really deep community where I gotta be honest, it takes the majority of my time up because when you're dealing with people, and not all those people are all those people on the Facebook group. No. So every month you're probably getting, if it's between 500 and 1,400 people on the Facebook group, you're spending a lot of time connecting with these people, getting to know these people, and answering their questions and developing this culture. And we were able to do this successfully over the last 3 years. So the people coming back now, them all, like we have 2 of them here right now, and them, and then out of nowhere, you start figuring out, well, out of those 9,000 people circulating throughout your community, during a year, what can we offer to them that's, unique? And what can we offer? You want some water? what can we offer to them that they're going to find a lot of value with? And, so that's why we turned around and we said, we're going to create this challenger retreat called DonCon. And our first one was in Costa Rica back in 2021. And I thought it was a massive success. We were only able to bring about 35 people in, but we held it in Nosara, Costa Rica. I think we sold out in a few hours. It was terrific. And we went in and it was really, a place where, we did body weight training, and I brought a nutritionist in, Coach Adam. He came in, and, they had all food served, 3 meals a day, farm to table, beautiful water that we were able to surf in, and other activities. And it was fun, but, I think after the first one, you realize that you can make it a lot bigger and a lot better, and make it feel like, a camp, but not only a camp, but like you're on vacation. So we ended up finding this place in Puerto Vallarta. It's like this small, I don't want to say it's an island. It's technically not an island, even though they have to boat you in and out of there. I think to drive, it would take like 4.5 hours through like the mountains, but they boat you in and out in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
So they boated 70 people in. We had 70 people who showed up, and it was like close to 15 different countries showed up to this event. And it was incredible. I mean, normally on a trip like that, I think by the end of the trip, you're always a little burnt out. And you're like, all right, it's time to get home. And you know what I'm talking about. Like you're away, you're at a conference. You're like, all right, it's time to get home. It's time to get back to reality. I remember when I was sad to leave, and my family was actually bummed to leave. I think that was proof that this thing is, a success. But on the first day, from everyone posting, we got about 50 inquiries about the following year. And then my wife and I were like, wow, we're really onto something. So we decided to book two consecutive weeks next year in Puerto Vallarta. And the day will typically start with yoga with one of our challengers. Robin Meeks hosted yoga every morning. She hosted from 7 to about 7:40. So you could be up, 6 a.m., you can get down into the eating area, have some coffee. They have some, yogurt. It's all dairy-free, gluten-free, very healthy. You have a cup of coffee, you can go up and do our yoga. And then at that point, 7 to 7:40, then my first class starts. It goes from 8 to 8:45. And then we have 15 minutes to clean up and get the next group in there from 9 to 9:45.
Okay.
Then breakfast will be at 10 a.m. And then we'll do breakfast from 10 to about 10:45. And then Coach Adam will do a full group nutrition section. And, that will be, roughly, does it do this one? So that one, if you need the other one, let me know. That one would be, 10 to 10:45. And then, I'm sorry, 10:45 to 11:30. Then at that point, 15 minutes Q&A. You're done at 11:45. And then from there, it's the afternoon activities. One of the activities, it's like snorkeling, zip lining, open water swimming, hiking, go to the waterfalls. You do rock jumping, rock climbing, jumping off rocks into waterfalls, parasailing. I mean, you really, cold plunges.
And you have
sweat
an
lodges.
arrangement with different service providers there?
Yeah. So it's really cool because we rent out this entire facility, and we then speak to a bunch of the services, and we'll bring, and this year, like we did one-offs last time. This year we'll bring in like jet skis, and you literally walk down the stairs. There's like your eating hall area, which is indoor, outdoor. It's covered. So if it pours, you stay dry, but it's still covered and safe. Then you walk down one flight of stairs and you're at the bar, which has got a lounge area, again covered. And you walk down another flight of stairs and you're at the pool, which is right on the beach. And you can go to the beach, and we would go to the beach some days and just sit in the water at the end of the day for 2 hours. And you have a group of 20, 30 people in the water talking to each other. It was really cool, especially when you have people from so many different areas and they have so much in common. And I was never like, it's so interesting, right? Because as I was putting together this course that we're going to be launching next week, and I was talking about the word community and networking, like there are always words early on that when you're a young kid, you listen to and you kind of roll your eyes to, but in time, it's fascinating on how much we all really need this, right? Like we need to be around that group that we feel like we're a part of. That's why teams are so special, especially when you find that good chemistry, when you're on that team where you feel like it's not only about what you're doing on the field or on the ice or on the court. It's about the other things. It's about, having those meals together, or working out together, or just going to see a movie together, or they're talking about, what's going on in your life. And I really feel like it's an area that most people are either missing or don't feel like they need. But when you have it and you're around it, I feel like it's pretty special. So that was probably one of the biggest takeaways from the pandemic. And I think that's why we were able to become massively successful with this, is that we understood that, we can offer a place where people feel really safe, really comfortable. Doesn't matter who you are, how tall you are, what your body count, it doesn't make a difference. It's just about people who want to improve. And I think if you're someone, whether you're massively successful or, you're not in life, like if you show up and you want to improve, I think you'll find you're a good person. I think you'll find that you have a lot in common with the other people that are going to be there, because that's what we have.
That's great. And I assume by the end of it, everybody's extremely happy, and they say like, I want to do this again, or, are there a lot of repeats?
Yeah, a lot of repeats. We actually, shockingly, we have a whole group of them that are staying for 2 straight weeks next year.
Wow.
And I was shocked, especially a lot of the foreigners. They were.
Yeah, what kind of countries are we talking about that they're coming
from? Dubai, Australia, Spain, Germany, Italy. I mean,
wow.
Canada, countries in South, down in South America, like different areas down there. I mean, it was pretty, you can go on and on. We had someone from Denmark, Amsterdam, those areas.
And then Americans from all over different states.
All over. Yeah. 100%. I mean, everywhere. I mean, we had people from California, we had people from New York, Florida, crazy.
Yeah.
The Midwest. I mean, it really became somewhat of a melting pot, which is nice, because people just showed up and they just wanted to laugh and hang and feel good and train and just get in this community, which, I think is powerful. And I really believe that's what, when you see a lot of these businesses, these fitness businesses that became successful, and you hear it, right? Yeah, everyone's knocking CrossFit or like, but they did a great job of community. I'm like, yeah, like all of these spots that have, like Peloton for a while, they were doing great. They developed a sense of community. They allowed people online to feel like they were part of a community because they were able to connect with coaches. It really is a part of the business that, how scalable is it, right? Like, how scalable are these concepts? Like, I truly believe, unless you have a face or someone steering this ship, or instructors that people are familiar with that could kind of help orchestrate this, I haven't seen a lot of them that, kind of withstand the test of time. I haven't seen a lot of these businesses that establish that sense of community and they can maintain it over a period of time. It takes effort. And I think that's something that a lot of coaches aren't thinking about. They all were one-on-one and they start making some money online and they're like, oh yeah, making money when you're not there. And so, like, no, you've gotta, I'm still telling people now, like, if you want to be successful in this business, don't just think you're going to sell programs and not have any touch points for these people. Because there's going to be another coach out there that's like with me. I've got 2 people over here today who have been my challenges for almost 3 years. And they've been doing exceptionally well, and we recognize they're part of the community, they're part of the family, and we want to take care of them. So yeah, I think that goes a long way when you're able to create that.
You find when you have that many people, it's like 70 people together, do you find it difficult to provide something that they can do from a workout perspective that they can all do, or do you have
No,
to?
not at all. I mean, if you think about it, each class is about 35 people.
Yeah.
So one, they've been doing my challenges for a while. So I know because I mean, I think there was 2 couples there who I think never did a challenge. So those were 4 people. That was it. And you are assigning exercises that, listen, like we're not teaching the kettlebell snatch there, right? Like, what are we doing? We're doing all body weight exercises, all banded exercises. And how do we mix things up? Well, we do things for reps, we do things for time, we change time under tension, we do iso holds, we do different combinations of movements. Sometimes we do more contrast training, right? Where we're combining a specific movement with a ballistic. There are so many ways you can go about, changing things to where they're safe. And there's so many ways you could take safe movements, like a split squat or a reverse lunge or a body weight squat. So out of the 35, you might have one or two of them that are like knee issue here. And then suddenly, like, okay, listen, guys beforehand, and I think it comes down to the coach. Like, how are you orchestrating this? All right, anyone have a problem while we're doing the exercise? Raise your hand, I'll run over. Out of nowhere, Rob raises his hand. What's up? Knees bother me. All right, let's just go into a body weight good morning. Or let's go into an inverted hamstring. Like this, ready? Go. And then you're moving around the room. And as you're moving around the room, they start understanding what to revert to when they're in this situation. I'm like, listen, we're having a problem with more knee dominant stuff, then we'll go to hip dominant, right? Or we're going to try something different. If you can't jump, we're going to go into a plank, right? We're going to do something to just do a specific hold and create tension. And as soon as we get to those movements, they revert to that. So what are they doing, right? Is it, what are we doing? The fact I was able to get through 5 straight days of training with 70 people per day. So you're looking at 350, think about that. So that's 5 sessions a person, 70 people a day. That's 350 individual workouts. And the fact we were able to get through there, we had one woman who lost her blood sugar level at one point. Oh. We had to sit her down because of the heat. So that means 349 people, 349 sessions were completely successful. One, I don't even blame the training. I blame, the fact that she wasn't hydrated and properly, satiated, right? Shows that you can do this stuff, with a high level of quality. And every day people are improving movement qualities every day. And at a certain point, like, you're beaming as a coach because you're looking around, looking at a room and as we're doing it for time, you're seeing everyone in unison performing reps beautifully. And then at that point, I'm walking around like, all right, listen, collapsing a little bit. Let's get back a little bit. All right, too much weight on your front leg. Let's be more 50-50. And you start giving them that little tweaks to where at some point, they're all, even the ones who are doing those lateralizations, who are doing that hip dominant movement when they should be doing knee dominant, they all look sweet. And I think getting everyone up to the training facility, it was a hike. You had a 10-minute hike upstairs. And when you get on stairs and you go 10 minutes and people are tired and they're sweating, I'm like, guys, it's part of the workout. This is part of it all. So everyone, between getting thrown into the environment of, we're feeding you organic foods all week, no dairy, no gluten, and you're just eating, a high, a very, I don't want to say plant strong diet with protein and healthy carbs, minimal alcohol, obviously if someone wants to have a glass of wine or beer, they're more than welcome, right? But all week long, everyone's just eating clean. It really is a reset, even for myself. You're coming back, breathing a little bit differently, right? You're a little bit more relaxed. You've exposure to the sun a little bit. You're able to, I think, take a deep breath. Hey, Rob, can you bring them in? Thanks, brother. Sorry, guys. So, I think that to me, what was special about it. And honestly, to this day, I mean, I've been in the industry for 25 years, and the amount of training I've done and the amount of spots I've been to, I mean, I got to be honest, I was super proud that we were running that, because I've never seen anything go like that. Like, I've never seen an environment where you bring that amount of people in and you can have that type of training and that type of nutrition and just that type of experience, overall experience. It really was, at first when I was going there, I'm like, okay, this is something I'm hosting, and but if I wasn't hosting it, would I go and pay to be a part of this? The answer is 100%. And I say that genuinely. I was, very, very, very pleased with how it ran.
Well, what makes me think is like, okay, that's a successful template that you have there, and obviously you're a big part of it. But is there a way that you could do that so that it's almost a business in itself, where, it's I'm not going to say permanent, but certainly at least quarterly or quite a few more times a year? Is that something you're thinking about?
I don't know. I think looking at something from a business perspective and being too ambitious are like two different things, right? Like, business and risk, I understand. I also understand that it's so popular because there's a demand for it, right? And the supply's low.
Yep.
So when there's a demand for something and the supply's low, we've got, interesting story. I had a friend of mine who had this cafe in the city for years, and the cafe wasn't big. It was a cash cow. He was doing great. Espressos, pastries. You had to line out the door of Manhattan, like New York City, models. People just like coming. Trendy people like showing up and really liked experiencing this place. Well, at some point he went, and all he did was he took access to the storefront next door and knocked down the wall, and suddenly it lost the demand, right?
Oh.
It lost the demand. People are walking in, they're getting a seat when they want to see it. And it lost that coolness factor, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the line is. Like, we have a lot of people in our challenges. And I think, when do you know when to expand? I think it's like anything else. When do you know when to raise your prices as a coach? And the coach is turning around and they're charging, let's make the number up, $100 an hour. And they're booked with $100 an hour. And you have a line of people outside wanting to pay you $100 an hour. Well, start taking 150.
Yeah.
And as they get it, start mixing them in. And then at that point, some of the people that might be, and I'm sorry to admit this, a little bit of a pain in the ass, turn around and find another coach to take them and take a cut off of that person. That's when you become entrepreneurial. That's when you start expanding your business. So I think with this, it's the same thing. Like, how quickly do we want to expand? My wife and I were a little nervous about, still are a little bit nervous about taking the second week that we took.
Yep.
We've already, we've almost kind of fulfilled our quota. We're almost at that point where we just opened it to the public, and we have 2 weeks that are, doing pretty well. So, now if I did a week every quarter, I don't know. I don't know if we're filling it yet. I don't know if we're not filling it yet. But I think as that demand continues to increase, then, like, this place I absolutely love. Are we going back there after next year? I can tell you right now, probably not. Probably not. Why? Because I'm starting to realize now that this is, as much fun as this is about coming and training with me and working with the community, how many times are people going to want to go back to the same spot every year? Like, we may have to find a different spot. We may have to choose that new location that allows it to be exciting for people. So, again, it's a lesson in business, right? It's like with anything else. How do you know when to raise your prices? How do you know when to X, Y, and Z? It's supply and demand.
Yeah, because I could see you easily doing, now that you got this course coming out, you do a business retreat, right?
That I would hands down do. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm probably going to run a mastermind, and I'll probably do that maybe out of here for a small group. And I'm thinking about starting with like 10 people, spending the full weekend, hotel room, food, round table, bringing in a couple speakers to talk about business.
Yeah.
I think that could be pretty awesome. So yeah, I would do something like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because then you can, walk them through real time of like, hey, let's, we're going to actually do this. We're going to actually set up a workout. We're going to jump online with some people and talk about it and do it real time. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. That's the goal right now. That's where I kind of see everything expanding, and I will 100%. My challenger community is my baby. I absolutely love it. But I see these other branches, I see these other arms really, I think it's exciting, right? I think it's something that I really believe in, and I think it's fun. And I think there's a demand for it. And that's kind of what I'm going off of right now, right? Like, I'm not sitting here obsessing over what we're selling or the money we're making. Like, I'm really more concerned with, whatever I'm doing, offering a great experience. And if I'm offering a course, all I care about is that person gaining a lot of value out of it. And that's kind of, is that ego? 100%. Like, I don't want someone to come in and pay me X and be like, I didn't get anything out of it. Like, some people are just like, oh, I don't care, I got their money. I'm like, no, I'd rather, I'd rather not charge them and have like the most amazing experience, because I know people are just going to talk it up. And I think, again, it's not obsessing over the dollar. It's not obsessing over, oh, how much money am I making here? Like, no, obsess over allowing people to learn or grow or have an experience, improve. And I think if you can carry that over into whatever you're doing, I think you're at a big advantage.
Yeah, because the other component that would be interesting would be, because I assume when you do this, all the food is provided as part of it, right? Somebody's preparing it. Or...
100%. Yeah, we're fortunately, they've got they got incredible cooks over there, and it's all farm to table. And I'm bringing in Trish. I think I'm bringing in Trish Williams from Daily Dose next year to do a little cooking class.
Yeah,
And I'm
well,
bringing
that would
some-
be that's the next thing I was thinking is like showing people how to do their own food preparation is probably a huge thing for people, like, you know, because I think people don't know how to get all those components in each meal and still enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. Jason Redmond, my good friend, the Navy SEAL, and Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, they're like, we would love to come and participate in it. It's nice to see some of my good friends who have a lot to offer in life, right? These are very smart people. They're they got incredible resumes, and just asking to come in and be a part of it for me is really seems like a lot of fun because this isn't a vacation for me. This isn't something that I'm like, oh, we're just going to sit on a beach. No, I want my goal was to have 70 people leave there and every one of them say, I had an incredible experience. I got something out of this. And I got something out of it. I was the one hosting it. So for me to leave after that period of time, and even listen, you evolve as a coach, right? Like we're always, subjected to the weight rooms and the gyms, and just being around that, training people like that, training that way myself, and doing the yoga and just being outside and laughing, like your body just feels different, right? Like you just feel great from it. And I think it's reminders that you need dosages, you need small doses of this, right? Even if your goal is hypertrophy and to put on muscle and whatever it is, you still need doses of living like this. And it's also a reminder, like, enjoy your food, right? Like I've been enjoying my food more the last 6 months than I think I have in the last 25, 30 years. I can't remember ever enjoying my food as much as I am now. Now I'm chewing my food more slowly because I'm enjoying it, and that's thanks to, Daily Dose and companies like that, or Organic Crush. I had Crush sent here today. Like I'm enjoying my food and not obsessing over like, oh, okay, like it has to be chicken and rice. Like that food's dead. Like consuming foods that are alive when you're away on trips like this, and they're constantly rotating in different types of plants and different types of proteins and different types of grains and different shades and different colors. And, you're, after dinner, you're laughing and walking and moving, and then you're sleeping better at night. It's just a reminder that we need to get out of our own environment here and there and expose ourselves to things that are going to make us feel good like this. Because anytime you're in an environment like that, I think you come back and you're like, okay, you're a little bit smarter. It's a reminder. Oh, I need to start putting this back into my life, right? It's even like, think about all the snake oil salesmen that people hear on, hear online, or, there's some people that I've gone to and I love, and I think are great, and they still get criticized because it sounds a little hokey. But any one of those talks I've gone to, I always leave with something, with one little like tidbit that I'm like, oh, you know what? So this is a reminder, right? Something that we knew, maybe we stopped incorporating in. Derek, like there are so many things in your training, like you can't mix everything in, right? Sometimes you get around people and you're suddenly like, oh man, I like when I'm around you, I'm always leaving there gung ho on getting my body to move fast for a shorter period of time, basically in a nutshell. Or maybe you're leaving me saying, oh man, I got to do this a little bit more, maybe, right? I'm just saying that you got to keep exposing ourselves to different environments like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people want to learn from somebody and learn everything. Like, teach me everything. And it's like, well, that's not how it works. It's exactly what you said. You're pulling little pieces here and there from everybody to kind of integrate with what you do. It's not like, one stop shop, right? So I
100%.
think there's a patience required.
100%.
Oh,
Maybe,
but
maybe we'll have you at one.
I'll just run the shit out of everybody.
Basically.
And I was gonna say, when you're around 70 people, you can't help but try and learn from them too, in terms of like, even from a business point of view, you'd have to say like, okay, they really like this, or they really responded to that, and that's something you're pulling in constantly, I'm sure.
It's something that you also got to be careful with it, right? Because I think from owning clubs in the city, and you got to take into consideration things they're saying, but you can't immediately make changes based off of what one person is saying, right? It's like, I'll never forget when I had Drive open. I started with 3 golf simulators. I went to 5, and then I went back to 3. And when I went back to 3, there was like 5 members out of the 300 at the time that were really pissed off. And one guy's like, I think you're making a big mistake. And, I was very polite and I said, listen, I respect what you're saying. From a business model standpoint, we need to do this. If I have these sims down here, we're not able to facilitate a specific need this place needs to have to not only be successful, but to survive. And he was just I'll never forget the guy. He was very like closed off. He's like, well, you're making a mistake. And I'm like, no, I'm making a mistake on what you want. Right. Like he was an intelligent guy, finance guy. I'm sorry, smart guy. Let me put it that way. He was a very smart guy, but he couldn't see my point of view. And when I made the change, it aggravated probably 5 people. And the club ended up thriving because of it. And it was the right move. And the simulators upstairs, the 3 upstairs, weren't too busy. We just had to start spreading the schedule out, right? It was a great lesson for me because my business wasn't going to survive on just anyone walking in anytime and walking in and jumping in a simulator. It's a nice luxury to have, right? Like when I go to the Y or I go to Lifetime to swim in their pool, I love it when I could just walk in and jump into my own lane and no one bothers me. Is that realistic? Is that going to keep that facility open? Think about it. It's expensive to keep that. You have a pool with 15 lanes between 2 pools and suddenly everyone has to have their own lane. It's not realistic. That's not how businesses survive. So I think when you go on trips like this and when you host things like this, you've got to take into consideration, you have to listen to what people are saying. And I think you got to recognize when you start hearing a large number of people come in with the same, call it complaint or suggestion or whatever you want to say, then yeah, you got to take it into consideration. But you also can't make the mistake of hearing what every single person's saying and then just jumping in that direction, because then in my opinion, you'll create a hostile environment.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. What do you got coming up for the fall then? You've had all this work you've done and we're going to do another episode talking about your course, but anything else you got going on?
Just short and sweet. Yeah. Otherwise, this fall is going to be the course. This fall is going to be continuing to put my foot on the gas with the challenger community. Increase our team. We got some great charitable stuff going. We got another Empire State Building run up coming up in October, which is going to be awesome. I plan on swimming throughout the fall. Training is going to be great. All that good stuff. How about you?
I'm going to travel and hopefully see you in November, and then I'm just waiting to hear back from the Atlanta Braves and do something with them, with their staff, probably December.
Oh my God, keep me up to speed on that. My son, we're dying to get down to that park, by the way.
Yeah, well, I think their facilities in Florida, so that's where they want to hold sort of the professional development stuff. So we'll see. I'm just the good thing about the online course that I have is that I can send it to people and they can use it as a preview before I get there. And then when I get there, we can do more practical stuff. So it's been very helpful in that regard to give people, a backgrounder on what I do. And then when I get there, I don't have to show them slides. I can actually jump into it quicker. So that's kind of how I've been modeling a hybrid system. And then, so we'll see. I think they're a good organization. So
why don't we do one of the course? Why don't we do one of the podcasts on your course?
Yeah. Like, because when I come to New York, I'm doing my planning and periodization course that I've kind of updated and changed a bit. So
can we do a cliff notes of it? Can we like maybe sit down at the computer and pull it up on the computer, but do a cliff notes, like a little dumb down presentation, so it'll get people hungry to see the full thing? Yeah,
we could definitely do that. So I'm trying to,
let's map it out,
because the planning stuff can get really boring and you want to keep it very relatable, but at the same time, there's certain people who want to do the deep dive. So trying to figure out how to, again, trying to make everyone happy is tough.
Well, why don't you and I go through it and we can I can give you another perspective on it too. Sometimes when you're really close to something, it's good to get another point of view. Why don't you take me through it one day on here?
Yep.
Let me know. That's probably what I'm focusing on for 2023 is I have to look at where my time is best. Like even Perform Better Germany, great experience. So happy I connected with them. All said and done. You don't make anywhere near the money you think you are after this fee and that fee and yada, yada, yada. And if I'm able to promote my course, great. But there's so many regulations over in Germany, what you can't do that you can do that's in the States that you can't do that's there. It's just a lot. So that's my goal for 2023. I want to just put my foot on the gas with things that are working.
Yep.
Focus on, the people around me that I love being with, I love working with, and, not wasting my time.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I love you. I'll see you next Friday. You're the best.
Take care. Bye.